Okay, so 3 American brands keep fighting for the same spot in your closet: Patagonia, The North Face, and Smartwool. Every one of them swears it makes the warmest, toughest, best value outdoor gear you can buy. So I put all 3 through 7 rounds of real testing: warmth, sweat, smell, toughness, warranty, price, and one last round nobody ever talks about. But by the time we hit that final round, the brand everyone calls the safe pick completely falls apart, and a different one walks away with the belt. Let's run the test. Smartwool mostly makes socks and the thin layers that hug your skin, so this test is about the stuff that keeps you warm, keeps you dry, and spends your money right, not just big puffy jackets. Cool? Then let's get into round 1. So the first test is warmth, and Smartwool hits first. Smartwool started back in 1994 in Steamboat Springs, Colorado, when 2 ski instructors named Peter and Patty Duke got sick of finishing every run with frozen, soggy feet. So they built a better wool sock, and that's still the whole heart of the brand. Their secret weapon is merino wool, and pound for pound, merino is the warmest thing you can put against your skin. The science behind it is actually really cool. Merino threads are crinkled and springy, so they trap thousands of tiny pockets of air, and those little air pockets hold your body heat in like a blanket. Even better, merino keeps warming you when it gets wet, holding on to a big chunk of its heat even soaked through. That's why a paper-thin Smartwool layer feels toasty the second you pull it on. It's clever in the heat too, because it can dump warmth and keep you cool when your body runs hot. So it works in summer and winter. And it's a natural fiber that grows on a sheep, not plastic squeezed out of a factory. This wool is also so fine and soft that it doesn't itch like those scratchy old sweaters your grandma made you wear. One sheep's yearly haircut makes about 40 pairs of socks, and Smartwool knits extra tough thread it calls indestructible wool into the heels and toes so they hang on longer. Patagonia and the North Face answer with puffy jackets stuffed with down and fluffy fill, and those are amazing in deep cold. But for that first layer touching your skin, the wool just wins. Round 1 goes to Smartwool. Before we move on, I'd like to ask you a small favor. If you're enjoying this content so far, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Over 98% of you watch these videos without subscribing. Imagine what we could accomplish if everyone subscribed. We all thank you for your continued support. Staying dry is round 2, and Patagonia grabs the lead. Warmth only helps you if you stay dry, and this is exactly where the wool gets into trouble. Merino soaks up sweat and then takes its sweet time drying, sometimes 2 to 4 hours when it's really wet. And cold, soggy clothes aren't just uncomfortable, they're how people end up shivering and in real danger up a mountain. So Patagonia hits back with its capilene line, a layer made from polyester that grabs your sweat, pushes it to the outside of the fabric, and dries about 3 to 5 times faster than wool. The North Face runs the same kind of quick-drying layers too. Polyester is also lighter and packs down smaller, so it barely eats up any room in your bag. And a lot of Patagonia's synthetic stuff is spun from recycled plastic bottles, so it keeps junk out of the trash while it keeps you dry. So the second you start working hard and sweating buckets, the synthetic stays light and dry while the wool sits there heavy and damp. For runners, skiers, and anyone who sweats a ton, that's the whole ball game. Round 2 goes to Patagonia, with the North Face right on its heels. Then comes the smell test, and Smartwool takes another one. However, drying fast comes with one gross little side effect, and it leads us straight into round 3. Polyester holds on to stink. Sweat in a polyester shirt for one day, and it can still smell ripe even after you wash it, because the germs that cause body odor love living in that fabric. Brands try to fix it by coating synthetics with anti-stink chemicals, but those slowly wash out and fade away. Wool does the complete opposite. It naturally fights those germs all on its own, so testers have worn the same merino shirt for days, even a couple of weeks straight, and it still didn't reek. That means you wash it way less, which saves water and helps it last longer. For backpackers who can't exactly do laundry halfway up a mountain, that's a giant deal, because one thin wool shirt can replace 3 smelly polyester ones. So Smartwool grabs round 3 and jumps back into the lead with 2 wins. Toughness is where the North Face finally fights back. But smelling fresh means nothing if your clothes rip to shreds, so round 4 is all about toughness, and this is where Smartwool trips and falls flat. Wool feels amazing, but it's a weak thread, and the lightweight stuff is famous for sprouting holes. Plenty of hikers complain their thin merino socks wear right through after only 150 miles or so, And merino shirts often get tiny pinholes and saggy, stretched-out collars after just a few washes. It's also needy. Toss it in a hot dryer and it shrinks, so it wants a cold, gentle wash and a slow air dry every single time. Smartwool's smartest move is mixing the wool with a little nylon to toughen it up, and those blends last way longer than pure wool. The North Face, though, built its name on the exact opposite of flimsy. This brand started way back in 1966 in San Francisco, and the Grateful Dead actually played at the grand opening. It nearly died in 1993 when it went bankrupt. Then VF Corporation bought it in the year 2000 for about $25 million, which now looks like a total steal. Its chunky Nuptse puffer survived brutal New York winters and blew up as a street fashion craze. Its Denali fleece has been a staple since the 90s. And its Summit series is real climbing gear made to get smashed around on the world's nastiest mountains. Patagonia's polyester stuff is strong too. But for pure beat-it-up all-day toughness, the North Face takes round 4 and finally gets on the board. On the warranty, nobody touches Patagonia. So strong fabric matters, but what happens when even the toughest jacket finally gives out? That's round 5, and it's a total slaughter. Smartwool only stands behind its stuff for 2 years, though to its credit, it'll take your worn-out socks back and recycle them instead of trashing them. The North Face looks better on paper with a limited lifetime warranty, but read the small print, and it only covers factory mistakes, not normal use, and its shoes get just 1 year. So if your jacket simply wears thin from living its life as a jacket, you're paying to fix that yourself. Patagonia plays a whole different game with its ironclad guarantee. If you're not happy, or it doesn't hold up, you get a repair, a swap, or your money back, for life. And when your stuff finally falls apart from years of use, Patagonia will still patch it up for a fair price at its repair shop in Reno, Nevada, which is one of the biggest clothing repair shops in all of North America. Then resell your old jacket through a program called WarnWear, so somebody else can wear it instead of it rotting in a landfill. Round 5 isn't close. Patagonia. Price is where everybody guesses wrong about Patagonia. But a lifetime warranty is useless if the gear costs a small fortune. So let's talk money. Everybody assumes Patagonia is the wallet killer of the three, but it lines up almost dead, even with the North Face. Both start their t-shirts around $40 and their hoodies in the $60 to $80 range. A Patagonia Better Sweater fleece runs about $159, the Nano Puff jacket about $229, and the down sweater around $279. The North Face actually charges more for its most famous jacket, with the Nuptse near $330 and the Denali fleece around $180. Smartwool looks like the cheap pick at first, about $25 for a pair of hiking socks, but its wool base layers blow past $100 fast, and remember, they fall apart quicker. So think about it like this. A cheap jacket you replace 3 times costs you way more than one good jacket you keep for 10 years. Once you remember that Patagonia fixes your stuff for life instead of selling you a brand new one, it quietly becomes the best deal of the bunch. On top of that, Patagonia's used gear keeps its value on worn wear, so you can even trade it back in for credit down the road, which the other two don't really let you do. Round 6 goes to Patagonia by a nose, but the last round is about your money, and it sinks the North Face and Smartwool. Here we go, round 7. And this is the part almost nobody tells you. The North Face and Smartwool aren't really rivals at all because the same company owns both of them, a giant called VF Corporation. That same giant also owns Vans, Timberland, JanSport, and even Icebreaker, which is another wool brand that fights its own Smartwool for shelf space, and it runs the whole thing from a headquarters in Denver, Colorado. And VF has been in deep, scary trouble. It makes around $10 billion a year, but it got buried under debt that climbed to almost $6 billion. Its stock crashed to about $9 in the spring of 2025, roughly 64% below its high, after the United States slapped huge new import taxes called tariffs on the countries where it makes most of its stuff, including a 46% one on goods from Vietnam. Angry investors even hit VF with lawsuits. So when you buy a North Face jacket or a pair of Smartwool socks, your cash flows straight up to a business fighting just to survive. And the twist is, the North Face is actually VF's golden child, pulling in close to $4 billion a year while its sister brands are tanking, which means your favorite jacket maker is getting squeezed to help rescue its sinking parent. Patagonia went the other way entirely. Back in 2022, its founder Yvon Chouinard did something almost nobody has ever done and gave the whole company away, worth around $3 billion. He locked the control into a trust and handed 98% of it to a charity, so now about $100 million in profit every single year gets aimed straight at fighting climate change. The way Chouinard said it, Earth is now the company's only shareholder. Patagonia is also a certified B Corp, and it's been giving 1% of all its sales to the planet every single year since 1985. It's so serious about people buying less that on Black Friday in 2011, the busiest shopping day of the year, it ran a full-page ad in the New York Times that flat out said, "Don't buy this jacket," begging people to grab only what they truly need. Try to picture the North Face ever telling you not to buy its coat. Patagonia even beat the North Face to scrubbing toxic forever chemicals called PFAS out of its clothes, finishing that job in the spring of 2025, right as California and New York started banning the stuff. Now, to be totally fair, that big giveaway wasn't pure sainthood, because the way it was set up also let the family skip an estimated $700 million in taxes. But the money still ends up guarding the planet instead of padding a rich guy's bank account. And its fluffy fleece hides a dirty little secret too, because synthetic fabric sheds tiny flecks of plastic called microfibers into the water every time you wash it, with one study counting tens of thousands shaken loose from a single jacket. And the wildest secret of all? The North Face was started by a climber named Doug Tompkins, who just so happened to be best friends with Patagonia's founder. Back in 1968, the two of them drove all the way down to a wild corner of South America that's actually named Patagonia, climbing mountains the whole trip. And that road trip is literally where Chouinard got his company's name. Same friendship, two brands, and they ended up in totally different worlds. Round 7 goes to Patagonia, no contest, add it all up, and the winner is Patagonia. So let's count the score. Smart Wool grabbed warmth in the smell test, clean and fair. The North Face took toughness, but Patagonia ran off with staying dry. The warranty, the price, and where your money lands. That's 4 rounds to 2-1. And it really isn't that close once you stack the whole thing together. One thing I won't lie about though, if all you want is the best pair of socks or a straight up cold weather wool layer, just grab Smart Wool and don't think twice. It's the king of wool, and the sheep behind it are raised humanely. Without the cruel shortcuts some wool brands still pull. And if you need the toughest jacket for the gnarliest mountain trip of your life, the North Face has fully earned a look. But add up everything that counts, toughness you can trust, a warranty that fixes your stuff for life, fair prices, and profits that go to the planet instead of a struggling business. And Patagonia is the one that earns your money. Buy one Patagonia piece, wear it hard for 10 years, get it fixed for free, and you spend less and waste less than you would chasing cheap jackets that die every winter. So that's all 3 brands cracked wide open and tested round by round with nothing hidden from you. One brand bet its whole future on the planet. The other 2 ended up stuck under the same shaky roof. If this saved you from blowing your cash on the wrong jacket, do me one tiny favor and tap that subscribe button so more no-nonsense breakdowns like this keep coming your way. Thanks for watching, and stay warm out there.